Hello, Andy here. We have come to the end, the concluding season of Avatar: The Last Airbender. This video is going to be a long one, which of course is absolutely necessary because there is so much shit that happens in these 21 episodes, so much epicness, and I'm gonna be talking about most, if not all of it. So spoiler warning as before, I can't make a video about the last season of Avatar: The Last Airbender without talking about all the spoilers. That just wouldn't be right. So you have been warned. Alright, intro is done. Here we go. Avatar: The Last Airbender, Book 3. Fire! So as you recall, at the end of Book 2, Ba Sing Se fell prey to the Fire Nation. Aang was killed by Azula, but brought back to life by Katara's spirit water, and Team Avatar had to retreat. Now, Book 3 picks up a few weeks later, and Aang wakes up from his coma to find that things are a little different. First of all, he has hair, which is one of the biggest things you gotta get used to. Basically, the good guy crew has captured a Fire Nation ship and made it their disguise, and we are planning an invasion of the Fire Nation. Their strategy is to pretty much lay low until the time is right to attack, which Aang doesn't initially take very well. He's like, I want to fight, you know, because he's used to being headstrong, but he's still in bad shape, and we're still in the recovery phase at the start of season 3. And I'll admit, the first few episodes of this season, after the first episode, Aang and his friends are in disguise in the Fire Nation, and we do have ourselves a few filler episodes. That Footloose episode is fun, it really is, but it's a filler episode. We're just hanging out in the Fire Nation and just hanging out and waiting for the invasion. Meanwhile, of course, we have the most interesting character in the series, Zuko, who has also returned home to the Fire Nation after 3 years of exile, and he's getting everything he thought he ever wanted. He has his honor restored because Azula told the Fire Lord that Zuko was the one who killed Aang, so he gets to sit at the right hand of his father, but you can see in his eyes that it's just not as gratifying as he thought it would be. He's still at war with himself because of the metamorphosis back in Book 2. That change he went through, it changed him for good, because he's still conflicted here. He's like, am I really happy here? This is what I thought I wanted initially, but now that I have it, I'm not really happy, and I don't know why. There's an episode called The Beach that really drives this point home. In fact, this episode is pretty fun. Is it filler? Yeah, admittedly, yeah. But it's still a really good one because it focuses primarily on the Fire Nation villains. Zuko and Azula and Mai and Ty Lee, they go to Ember Island, they go to this beach where a bunch of other teenagers are, and it feels like high school. But then there's that campfire scene where it's the four of them, they're sitting around a campfire, and you finally get a deep dive into their characters. You learn a little bit more about Mai and Ty Lee and Azula and their upbringings, and they all have internal conflicts as well. Plus, you get to see Mai and Ty Lee and Azula in bathing suits. And every guy out there, no matter how old they are, whenever watching that episode, we're all like, damn, they're pretty hot. Do we feel creepy about it? Absolutely. But that's just the way it is. Tell me I'm wrong. Tell me I'm wrong. And this season, we finally get to meet face-to-face Fire Lord Ozai, who's voiced by none other than Mark Hamill. Yeah, Ozai is voiced by the Joker, so you know this guy is bad news, because he's all like, I will rise as the Phoenix King. That comes later. We also learn what happened to Iroh. He's been imprisoned. He's also got a new voice actor, so that does take some getting used to. And one thing that does kind of bum me out about this season is that we don't see Iroh that much. He's not in as many episodes in this season as he was in the previous seasons. However, when you do see him this season, his story arc is really awesome, as per usual. Because while he's in prison, he's working out, he's getting swole to the point where when you see him take his robe off and he's all ripped, you're like, holy shit, Iroh's gonna straight up kick some ass here. And he breaks out of prison all by himself as a one-man army. I wish we could have seen it though, just saying. Then we have the episode called The Avatar and the Fire Lord. And this is a really important episode because it's all about how this 100-year war started in the first place. You learn that Avatar Roku, who was the Avatar before Aang, and Fire Lord Sozin, they were best friends and they had a bond that lasted their whole life, but Sozin had a vision of fire spreading throughout the world because he thought it was the superior element and he wanted the rest of the world to share in that superiorness. That's a word, right? And Avatar Roku's like, no, all four elements are harmonious. And when it came right down to it, towards the end of their lives, Sozin betrayed Roku, left him to die in a volcano, and started the 100-year war. It makes you feel. It's so good, dude. Like, so many episodes this season seem to top the episode that preceded it. It just gets better and better. Next awesome episode, The Puppet Master. It's filler-ish, but it's really good because this is a really dark episode. This is probably the darkest the show ever gets. Katara meets this old lady from the Southern Water Tribe who is a waterbender, and she possesses a very scary form of waterbending that she tries to teach Katara. That would be blood bending. You think about it and it makes sense. Yeah, blood is a form of water. 70% of our human bodies are made up of water. So this old lady Hama can ultimately possess people to do her bidding, which if you ask me, kind of sounds like rape. And it's just not a good thing. Not a good thing at all. But this show absolutely goes there, and just all sorts of problems. props for that. Again, just super dark. So now we're at the halfway point through the season, the Day of Black Sun. See, the reason we were waiting for the invasion is because there is an eclipse coming, a solar eclipse, where the sun is blocked out by the moon. Firebenders get their fire power from the sun. So during this short period of time where it's blocked out by the moon, all the firebenders' powers have been weakened, if not completely depleted. So now is our time to invade. It's a big two-parter. There are a couple two-parters in this season, of course with the finale being a four-parter. But Day of Black Sun is the first time you really get to see how Aang has matured throughout the entire series, that is. He shaves his hair off, he dons this robe. It really makes you look back and notice how Aang has gone from goofball in season 1 to a complete badass in season 3. Because he is, in fact, a complete badass. So we're off to invade the Fire Nation now, but of course, the Fire Nation completely saw this coming. Aang was going to confront Lord Ozai. Who does he find instead? Azula. So there's a little fight between Azula versus Aang and Sokka and Toph. Really, she's just stalling for time during the eclipse, and ultimately that completely works. The invasion completely fails. All the adults are taken prisoner, the adults including Hakoda, who is Sokka and Katara's father, and a few of the guest characters that we've met in previous seasons, like Haru and his father, the hippo and the boulder. Yeah, they all get taken prisoner, and the kids once again have to retreat. But the biggest thing that happens in this episode is, of course, Zuko. Zuko finally confronts his father and straight up tells him, I will no longer follow your orders. I am not happy here. I'm gonna find my Uncle Iroh and beg for his forgiveness. But more than that, I'm going to join the Avatar and help him bring you down. This is everything Zuko's redemption arc has been building towards. This is what makes Zuko's redemption arc one of the best redemption arcs in all of fiction. And I absolutely mean that. This is one of, if not my absolute favorite scene in the entire show. So that's where the Day of Black Sun episode ends. The kids are retreating and Zuko is following in pursuit. So we get to the next episode, the Western Air Temple, where Zuko reveals himself to the team. And I love watching this, because Zuko is now trying to be a good guy, but he's just not coming off right. He's slipping up, he accidentally burned Toph's feet. I love the part where he goes, why am I so bad at being good? Because you do totally get both sides. Yeah, Zuko, you saw him go through his metamorphosis, so you know he's good, but Team Avatar doesn't know that. They still see him as the bad guy who's been trying to hunt down Aang. So after Zuko helps Team Avatar defeat Combustion Man, who's this big Terminator-like dude who Zuko originally sent to kill them, Zuko helps take him down, and so he is reluctantly let into the group. Because let us not forget, Aang still has to learn fire. Yeah, he hasn't even really started that yet. And from here on out to the rest of the season, there are no filler episodes. The next few episodes are all about Zuko bonding with the team, and he does it one at a time. First with Aang, then with Sokka, then with Katara, then with Toph. With Aang, Zuko travels with him to this place where the Sun Warriors are. They are the original firebending masters, and they learn this like ancient form of firebending by dancing with these dragons. It's so cool. Next episode, the Boiling Rock, which is actually the other two-parter. Zuko and Sokka go to this Fire Nation prison called the Boiling Rock because Sokka wants his father freed from there after he was taken prisoner on the Day of the Black Sun. So they end up saving not only him, but Suki as well, since it turns out she was also a prisoner there. And while they are escaping, Azula's there, she's trying to stop them, and May— okay, I had to touch on this, so much stuff here. When Zuko was back in the Fire Nation and unhappy, he was in a relationship with May. I forgot to mention that. So when he left and turned full good, it broke May's heart. So now when Zuko and everyone are escaping the Boiling Rock, and Azula and May and Ty Lee are there, they're trying to stop them, May realizes that she loves Zuko more than she fears Azula. So she completely turns. When I saw that happen in the show, I was like, oh, May coming in clutch! She turns on Azula, Ty Lee follows soon after, and I'm just like, this is awesome. Now they're gonna help fight in the final battle, right? Well, no, because Azula just has them both imprisoned, and we don't see them again until the very, very end of the show after the war. That is actually one complaint I have. I wish May and Ty Lee would have helped out in the final battle. I would have liked to have seen May and Ty Lee fighting for good, alongside Team Avatar. That would have been cool, I think, but we just didn't get that. But anyway, Zuko and Sokka come home with Hakoda and Suki. Then we have Zuko's bonding episode with Katara, the Southern Raiders episode where they go to get revenge on the man who originally killed Sokka and Katara's mother. And it's also a really good episode because you see a darker side of Katara. For a while, she's like, I'm gonna kill this guy. But when it comes right down to it, she can't do it. Really good character growth for her. And all these strong character development episodes lead right into the finale. Well, okay, fine. We have the Ember Island Players episode. Do I have to talk about it though? The team goes to see this Fire Nation propaganda play about themselves, and it's a really bad play, so haha funny. This episode is pretty much the calm before the storm. Greatest thing about this episode is the conversation that Zuko has with Toph. That's their bonding moment right there. Not as big and epic as the previous episodes, but it's there. That's what counts. And it's really good. So now that we're all good and ready, let's get into the finale. Sozin's Comet. We learn that Fire Lord Ozai's plan is to take over the world during this comet, because it's going to give the Firebenders just unbelievable power. He's going to name Azula the Fire Lord, while he will rise as the Phoenix King, supreme ruler of the world. So everyone's telling Aang that he has to kill the Fire Lord, but Aang, being the awesome person that he is like, I cannot take someone's life. And I love that about him. That's also what I love about Batman. It's explained really well in the beginning of Batman Begins why killing is just never good ever, no matter what the circumstances. But Aang simply says violence is never the answer. Simple. So he learns a different way to take down the Fire Lord. He learns it from this big, huge lion turtle. It's a pretty sweet scene. It gives Aang all sorts of wisdom. He's now like a next level avatar. It's really cool. We also meet the Order of the White Lotus, which is this group of old dudes, Iroh, Bumi, Pakku, who are dedicated to keeping the balance in the world. And yeah, Iroh is part of this order. So when Zuko finally goes up to him and begs for his forgiveness, Iroh just takes him in and embraces him in a hug. And that's another one of my favorite scenes in the entire show, because of that forgiveness. I don't mean to get preachy here, but it's one of my strongest beliefs that forgiveness is one of the most beautiful things that humankind is capable of. Because why keep all that anger and hatred inside you when you can just let it go and rebuild a relationship to be even stronger than it ever was? Whenever I watch that scene now, it always makes me at least tear up, because I'm always like, forgiveness. Can you imagine? It's beautiful. But now the comet is here, and yeah, it gives Fire Lord Ozai unlimited power! So we have our huge fight with Aang versus Ozai. And we also have the ultimate Agni Kai, which is a firebending battle, with Zuko versus Azula. And Katara is there too. And these are big, destructive battles. Again, I'm looking forward to seeing how the live-action recreation is gonna do those. It's gonna be awesome. And so long story short, the fights end, first of all, with Katara bringing down Azula, because she does the ice thing and she wraps Azula up in chains. I love Azula here too, because she's just unleashed. Azula this season, there's no other way to describe her than an absolute country. But just that first syllable. Yeah, she's just bad this season. So it's so gratifying to see her finally taken down by Katara. Meanwhile, Aang's fight with Ozai ends with Aang remembering what he learned from the lion turtle, and instead of killing Ozai, he takes away his firebending, which is a completely great and amazing way to end it. And so that is it. It's over. We won. The ways of peace and kindness have prevailed over the ways of war. And yes, we have victory! Iroh has taken back Ba Sing Se, and he's gonna run his little tea shop for the rest of his life and play Pai Sho every day. Zuko becomes the new Fire Lord in a scene that totally reminds me of the end of Lord of the Rings: Return of the King, because he's pretty much like, this day does not belong to one man, but to all. Let us together rebuild this world, that we may share in the days of peace. It's just so perfect. And the series ends with Aang and Katara sharing a kiss. And the music's swelling up, and it's just the most beautiful thing you've ever seen. And that is it. That is the end of Avatar: The Last Airbender. In conclusion, Avatar: The Last Airbender is one of the best, if not the best, animated series of all time. I said last week that I would let you know here which season I like more, season 2 or season 3. And ultimately, I know it'll sound like a cop-out, but I just can't decide. Book 2 had less filler-seeming episodes than Book 3, but Book 3 is just so epic, and it has some of the best episodes in the show, but it also has more filler-seeming episodes in the beginning. Book 3 is more epic than Book 2 in my opinion, but Book 2 introduces so many awesome things that ultimately they just come out even for me. I'm sorry if you were expecting me to pick one, but I can't. To me, Book 2 Earth and Book 3 Fire are equally awesome. I mean, the entire show, Avatar: The Last Airbender, is, like I said, it's amazing. I can't say anything now that I haven't already said. It's a fantastic story of honor, loyalty, adventure, and it always will be, forever. As you know, it's on Netflix now, so if you have Netflix, you have no excuse. Watch it if you have not yet. It is absolutely necessary. No matter what may come in the future, whether the live-action recreation is good or bad, we will always have this original animated series. And that will never die. So, Avatar: The Last Airbender, Book 3 Fire. What do you think of it compared to the other seasons? What's your favorite episode of this season? And who is your favorite character in the show? Whatever you think, go ahead and leave a comment. And don't forget to subscribe.